What would you do if a homeless boy knocked on your door on a cold, rainy afternoon? You might hesitate, you might have questions, but for Xavier, the young son of billionaire Elon Musk, he only saw one thing. My friend needs help. And from that innocent moment, a journey unfolded, one filled with tears, family, and a shocking truth no one saw coming. The boy's name was Tom, soaked, lost, and quiet as he stepped into Elon Musk's mansion like a stranger. But no one, not even Elon, the man who controlled everything in his world, could have imagined that Tom wasn't just another boy. He was a piece of the past, a part of Elon's own flesh and blood, a truth that had been buried for over 13 years. Some encounters are pure coincidence. Others are fate. Today's story will take you through a full range of emotions, from curiosity and warmth to absolute astonishment. If you believe that kindness can lead to miracles and that truth, no matter how long hidden, will eventually rise, then stay with us until the very end of this journey. And if stories like this, heartfelt, human, and filled with meaning, resonate with you, please subscribe to our channel so you never miss the next powerful tale we bring to life. Part 1. A fateful rainy afternoon. The steady drizzle on that Tuesday afternoon cast a gray veil over the vast estate of Elon Musk. Inside the mansion, Sophie, the longtime housekeeper, was quietly tidying up the living room, a faint look of concern on her face. It was already past 4:15 p.m., and Xavier, Elon's 12-year-old son, still hadn't returned home. Unlike most kids who were chauffeured around in sleek cars, Xavier preferred to walk home from the library. He said walking freed his thoughts and helped him notice things others missed. Just like his father, Sophie often mused, half proud, half worried. Just as she was about to pick up the phone to call someone, the security monitor lit up. Xavier's rain-soaked face stared into the camera. But he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a boy, maybe 13, with wet black hair stuck to his forehead, a thin, worn-out jacket clinging to him, and eyes that shone with both nervousness and hope. "Miss Sophie, I'm home. I brought a friend for dinner. Is that okay?" Before she could answer, the grand door opened, and the soft rush of rain outside felt like the opening chords of a faded symphony. Tom stepped inside, his sneakers soaked, hugging a battered backpack like it was his only possession. Sophie's expression softened the moment she looked into his eyes. She had once worked in an orphanage, and that look, she knew it well. It was the look of a child asking for nothing more than a warm meal and a little kindness. "Come in, sweetheart. Let's get you into something dry before you catch cold," Sophie said gently, motioning for the security guard to fetch clothes from Xavier's older brother. As Tom walked through the glowing foyer, he whispered, "This place looks like a museum." Xavier laughed. "Wait till you see my room. It has a slide that goes from my bed down to the game room." Tom didn't answer. He just gripped his backpack tighter. Sophie quietly sent a text to Elon Musk's assistant. "Xavier brought home a boy, possibly homeless. Please advise." But in her heart, Sophie already sensed something deeper had just begun. Part 2. The first dinner and unanswered questions. In the cozy kitchen, the smell of pumpkin soup and freshly toasted bread filled the air, overpowering the damp chill from outside. Tom, now dressed in Xavier's oversized clothes, sat quietly at the dinner table, clutching his old backpack like he was afraid it would disappear if he let go for even a second. Sophie gently placed a plate of food in front of him, accompanied by a warm smile. "Eat as much as you want, sweetheart. Here, no one lets a guest go hungry." Tom simply nodded and carefully broke off a piece of bread. At first, he ate slowly, perhaps out of politeness. But within a few minutes, unable to hide his hunger, the boy began eating faster, each spoonful of hot soup warming his chest, bringing a sense of comfort that had been missing for so long, as if he was finally feeling the warmth of a real home. "Where did you stay before coming here?" Sophie asked gently, just enough to avoid making him feel uncomfortable. Tom looked down. A brief silence passed. Then he answered in a quiet voice. "Oakwood Park, in the thick bushes behind the sports field. There's a spot where I could sleep, and the security guards don't notice." Sophie froze for a moment. She had heard about children sleeping rough, living temporarily under trees in the middle of a bustling city. But she never imagined one of those children would be sitting at a dinner table in the Musk family home, bathed in soft golden light, surrounded by genuine care. "What about your parents?" Sophie continued softly, like a whisper on the wind. "My mom. She passed away when I was 6. My grandmother took care of me until last year, but she passed away too. After that, I didn't want to go to a foster home." The air grew heavy. Sophie placed her hand on his shoulder just lightly, as if to offer a wordless comfort. Just then, Sophie's phone vibrated softly. It was a direct message from Elon Musk. "Don't let the boy leave. I'll be home in 20 minutes." Sophie froze. Elon had never canceled a meeting, especially not one with NASA, but this time was different. Tom looked up, noticing her expression shift, and hurriedly said, "I can leave if I'm bothering you. I wasn't planning on staying long." "No, you're not bothering anyone," Sophie smiled, concealing her emotions. "Just someone very special wants to meet you." Part 3. An unexpected meeting between two worlds. The familiar hum of the electric car echoed from the garage. Without any announcement, everyone in the house knew Elon Musk was home. The kitchen, already warm, suddenly became unnaturally quiet. Tom sat upright, his hands gripping the straps of his old backpack, eyes fixed on the hallway where a man known to the whole world would soon appear. But to Tom, he was just the father of a new friend. The door opened. Elon Musk stepped inside, not with his usual commanding presence. He paused at the threshold, his eyes slowly scanning the room before resting on the thin boy standing awkwardly under the soft lights. "You must be Tom, right?" he asked, his voice deeper and warmer than Tom had expected. Tom shot up from his seat, nearly knocking over the chair behind him. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I was just here for a quick bite, then I'll leave." Elon raised a hand gently as if to calm him. "No need to apologize. You being here is a good thing. I believe that sometimes surprises are part of a bigger plan." The words stopped Tom in his tracks. In those eyes, he saw no judgment, only something strangely familiar, something like quiet empathy. "Sophie told me you like reading about rockets," Elon asked as he stepped closer, never taking his eyes off the boy. "Yes, I read a lot of books at the library. I like figuring out how things fly." Elon smiled, not a polite smile, but the kind of nod that came with memories. "You know, when I was your age, I spent hours doing the same thing in a little library back in South Africa." Tom looked up surprised. Really? And back then, I never imagined I'd someday be launching real rockets into space." Silence settled over the kitchen again. But this time, it was gentle. The kind of silence shared when two people exchange a quiet secret. Elon turned to Sophie. "Please prepare the blue guest room, and find a few changes of clothes for Tom." "Of course." Sophie nodded, visibly touched. Tom's eyes widened. I get to stay?" "Just for one night," Elon replied. "It's raining out tonight." But in his gaze, it was clear. Tonight wasn't just about a roof or a bed. It was the beginning of something far greater. Part 4. Pieces of the past. Late at night, the mansion was bathed in soft, golden light. Dinner had long been finished, but the warm atmosphere lingered. As if no one wanted to close the chapter on such a rare, peaceful evening. Elon sat across from Tom at the kitchen table, his gaze full of concern, yet free of pressure. Sophie, having finished preparing the guest room, quietly stepped away, giving them space. One man who had once been a lonely boy obsessed with science, and one boy now reliving that story in his own quiet way. "Tom," Elon began, his voice low and gentle like the hush of a piano at midnight. "Would you mind telling me why you've been on your own?" Tom looked down, gripping his cup of hot tea with both hands. A pause, heavy and uncertain. Then, he gave a small nod. "My grandma passed away 3 months ago. Since then, I haven't had a home to go back to." Elon said nothing. He simply listened. "I lived with her my whole life. My mom died when I was 6. My dad, I've never met. Grandma was everything to me." The words were simple, yet carried the weight of a boulder. Tom's hands trembled slightly. Elon slowly reached out and rested his hand on the edge of the table, close to Tom's. Not invading, just gently reassuring. "They wanted to take me to a group home," Tom continued, his voice rough with fatigue. "I heard stories about those places, so I ran." Elon exhaled quietly. "And where have you been staying since?" "Oakwood Park. There's a spot behind the bushes where nobody really looks. I hide my sleeping bag there." The air in the room grew heavy. The luxurious mansion seemed to fall completely silent as a child spoke calmly about nights spent in hunger and cold. "I don't need pity," Tom added quickly, as if sensing Elon's reaction. "I'm okay. The library's open every day. I've got water, books, sometimes there's leftover bread." Elon gave a slow nod. "You don't have to be okay, Tom. No child should have to live like that." Tom pressed his lips together as if ready to argue, but before he could speak, Elon stood up and pulled out his phone. His tone was firm but still gentle. "I'm going to make a few calls. Not to change you, but to change the world around you." As Elon left the kitchen, only the ticking of the wall clock remained. Tom sat still for a long while, then turned to look out the window where the rain still tapped softly against the glass. And for the first time in many months, he felt like someone truly wanted him to have a real chance at life. Part 5. The First Dinner. A gentle sunset spilled its glow over the long dining table, one rarely occupied by the entire Musk family due to their hectic schedules and overlapping commitments. But tonight was different. Elon was already seated at the head of the table, his eyes quietly watching the doorway as Tom entered, wearing a clean sweater and neatly combed hair. He walked in alongside Xavier, the son who had grown remarkably close to Tom in just a few short days. "Please have a seat," Elon said softly, pointing to the chair beside him, normally reserved for the most important guest. Tom sat down cautiously. His eyes scanned the neatly arranged silverware, unsure where to begin. Elon leaned in slightly and whispered, "Eat however you feel comfortable. No one here will judge you for it." That simple statement was more than guidance. It was comfort. Elon's other children, 2 boys and a girl, were already seated. Their eyes settled on Tom with curiosity, some awkwardness, but no hostility. Sophie, the devoted housekeeper, soon appeared with the first course: creamy mushroom soup and crisp grilled cheese toast points. The atmosphere was slightly tense, until Xavier broke the silence. "Dad, Tom knows everything about rockets. He even understands how fuel combustion works." Elon smiled and turned to Tom. "Is that so? Are you interested in engineering?" Tom nodded, still a bit hesitant. "Yes, very much, especially in gravitational balance and fuel efficiency." Elon's eyes lit up, not just at the content of the answer, but at the clarity and depth in Tom's tone, marked by a pure curiosity. "You know," Elon said, balance isn't just a matter of engineering. It's also about life. Even a slight imbalance, and things can fall apart." Tom said nothing, but the way he looked at Elon had changed. No longer wary, his gaze now held a quiet glimmer of connection. Dinner continued with honey-glazed roasted chicken and steamed vegetables. Conversation grew more natural, more open. Tom even laughed, a rare, sincere laugh that made Sophie, watching from the kitchen, smile gently to herself. When Elon stood up at the end of the meal, he said something that brought the whole room to a hush. "You may not carry the Musk name, but to me, you deserve a seat at this table." Tom lowered his head, his eyes red with emotion. It wasn't just an invitation. It was a door opening to an entirely new chapter in his life. Part 6. A late-night conversation. Night had quietly settled over the Musk estate, blanketing it in a rare calm. Soft garden lights cast pale glows on the tree canopies, their shadows gently dancing across the large glass windows. Tom lay on the plush bed in the blue guest room, but sleep wouldn't come. The warmth of dinner still lingered in his chest, but underneath it, a strange current of unease stirred his mind. Something felt unsaid. There was something in Elon Musk's gaze, not just attentiveness, but as if he were searching for a missing piece. Tom slipped out of bed, pulled on a sweater, and quietly opened the door. He remembered seeing Elon head toward the small library at the end of the hallway. The soft glow seeping from beneath the door confirmed he was still awake. He knocked gently. "Can't sleep?" Elon's voice came calmly, unsurprised. He was seated at a dark wooden desk, a steaming mug of hot cocoa beside him, papers spread across the surface. "Everything's just too good," Tom said softly. "And I'm not used to that." Elon gestured to the chair across from him. "Sometimes good things don't come from familiarity. They come from what we deserve." Tom sat in silence, eyes drifting over the notes, diagrams, and a photograph lying face down. "I used to think I was just some kid nobody wanted," Tom said. "But here, you treat me like I've been waiting for you for a very long time," Elon finished gently, his eyes softening. A long pause filled the room. "Tom, there's something I need to confess," Elon said as he placed a hand on the photograph and turned it over. Tom held his breath. The photo showed a young woman with a gentle smile and deep blue eyes. "This is your mother, Sarah," Elon said, his voice low. "Nearly 14 years ago, I knew her. We lost touch, until I met you." Tom felt his chest tighten. "I suspected from the very beginning. The face, the eyes, the way you talk about rockets. It's exactly how your mother spoke back then." Elon paused. "I had a DNA test done. I'm sorry I didn't ask first, but I needed to know the truth." The room fell utterly silent. "And," Tom whispered. Elon looked straight into his eyes, his voice as soft as a breeze. "Tom, I'm your biological father." Part 7, A New Name. Tom sat still. The room felt like it had stopped breathing. Elon's words echoed in his mind. "I'm your biological father." The world around him blurred, leaving only the pounding of his heart. He didn't know whether to be angry, overjoyed, or simply burst into tears like a child reunited with a parent after years of being lost. "Mom never mentioned you," Tom whispered, eyes fixed on the photo. "I know," Elon sighed. "Maybe because at that time, I was too consumed with my work to receive something as profound as fatherhood. Or maybe Sarah thought I didn't need to know, or didn't deserve to." Tom turned to look at him. In Elon's eyes now, there wasn't the sharp brilliance of a scientist, but something fragile. Guilt, remorse, and a quiet longing that flickered like candlelight in the dark. "Bringing you here wasn't just an act of compassion," Elon continued. "It's because my heart recognized you before my mind had the evidence." Tom looked down, his small hands clutching the still warm mug of cocoa. The months of sleeping in parks, eating leftovers, being chased out of libraries, all of it suddenly felt like a distant dream fading away. "So, what now?" Tom asked hesitantly. "You're my dad?" Elon nodded slowly. "I don't want to pressure you into anything, but if you'll allow me, I'd like to be your father, fully, to be there for you, to care for you, and to make up for all the lost years." Silence fell. Only the soft wind brushing against the window broke it. Tom stood, slowly walked toward Elon. His small frame trembled, not from cold, but from emotion. And then, without warning, he wrapped his arms around the man in front of him. Not a billionaire, not Elon Musk, but simply a father. I don't know how to call you," Tom whispered, voice trembling. Elon placed a hand on his back and pulled him in gently. "Call me whatever feels right to you." Tom pulled back just a little, looked up at him, and then as if something burst open inside him, softly said, "Dad." And for the first time in many, many years, Elon Musk, the iron-willed man, cried. Not from failure, not from success, but because he had finally found a part of himself that had been missing all along. His son, Tom. Tom wasn't just a homeless boy who got a helping hand. He was Elon Musk's biological son, a part of Elon's past he never knew existed, and a chance for a father to reclaim the years that were lost. And Xavier, who thought he was simply making a new friend, had unknowingly brought his own younger brother home. Amid media frenzy, speculation, and public pressure, Elon didn't choose to hide. He chose to be transparent. He chose to protect. And most importantly, he chose to be a father. From a park bench to the labs of SpaceX, from a public library to the dinner table of one of the world's wealthiest families, Tom's journey is proof of one powerful truth. A small act of kindness, offered without expectation, can open the door to an entire family. And in a world clouded by doubt and division, family, trust, and genuine compassion are the timeless values we all long for. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button, leave a comment below to share your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing more emotional, meaningful stories like this to life. What do you think will happen next now that Tom has become part of Elon Musk's family? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment and let's talk. And remember, sometimes the most extraordinary miracles come from the moments we least expect.